sleep, rave, repeat. Eat, sleep, rave, repeat.
Very, very pleased. It's been pretty hard work. We have a superb team.
Well, welcome to this live interview brought to you by the J70 UK and Ireland class. And I'm delighted to say that we have the 2019 J70 Open World Champion, Paul Ward, with us. Paul, welcome to the show.
Thank you very much, Louis. How are you doing?
Yeah, I'm good. I should explain, or rather, you can explain. You're not in the warm confines of your study in Midhurst, Paul, are you?
No, I'm up right on the top of the beautiful South Downs in England on a very sunny day. Based on where I live, this is the only way to get a mobile telephone signal. So it's good to be speaking to you and to everybody else.
Okay, that's cool. And Paul, let's just start off. Where did you start sailing, Paul?
It's quite a long time ago, but I think I was about 11 years old, and my mum comes from Norfolk, so we went sailing with my mum and my dad on the Norfolk Broads, in a big old yacht thing. It's a bunch of lakes and rivers in the east of England, and I can really remember the first time they let me go on my own in just a little dinghy which had one sail, and I remember pulling the sail in, the boat shot off. And it was just fantastic. Sense of speed, a sense of freedom. It feels like I'm right back there today. So that was where I kind of got into it, and been sailing pretty much ever since.
Okay, lovely, Paul. Well, we've got a show lined up with videos and pictures and all sorts. But just to sort of tell the people that are watching at home that this is a live interview. So if you want to make a comment, want to ask a question, just do it like you do on Facebook. There's a comments box there. You can put in a comment. You can put in a question to Paul, and we'll try and answer that for you. And it'd be nice to know where you all are. So if you just want to put in where you're looking in from, and also you can also hit the share button and get some more people involved, which would be very nice. Now, the J70 Open World's Royal Torbay Yacht Club first J70 World Championships on British soil, and we had not only Paul Ward winning with Eat Sleep J Repeat, we also had Ian Wilson and Marshall King winning the Corinthian. So it was a double header for the two British teams. But what I wanted to ask you, Paul, was what really got you. What flicked your switch? What got you into the J70 class?
Well, my first J boat was about 7 years ago. It was a J88. So the first Eat Sleep J Repeat was a J88, which is a fantastic boat. But then the 2017 J70 Worlds were coming up in Porto. Mm-hmm. That looked like it was going to be a fantastic event. Definitely on the bucket list to go sail in Porto. So I called my good friend Paul Hayes from Key Yachting and said, have you got a boat? And being the great guy that Paul was, of course he said, yes, of course I've got a boat. Right. I don't think he quite knew where it was or what it was at that point, but of course Paul had a boat, because Paul always had a boat. And also called my other great sailing friend Charlie Cumbly, who'd raced with us in the J88, and asked, say, hey, Charlie, have you got some time to do the J70 Worlds in Porto? And we probably need to do just a few events beforehand, so we're not too embarrassing. So we got it all together to go down there. We had a fantastic time sailing with some of the top one design sailors in the world. You get to sail with Peter Duncan, Judd Smith, Claudia Rossi. And then the top Brits were Marshall King, Ian Wilson, Adam Brachette, and Ben Saxton. Those guys were in the top 10. I think we finished up in the Gold Fleet. We finished up about 37th overall, I think, and we had a fantastic time. So just thought, right, let's carry on doing this.
Yeah, well, we've got a video from that Worlds, and thank you very much to the Yacht Club Costa Smeralda for letting us play this. Here's a bit of video action from the J70 Worlds 2017. And there is some comment over this, Paul, but your mic's still live, but there's some fairly loud music. Not turning down a little bit.
And Porto is unbelievable. It's so beautiful. The winds were great, and the competition was good, and the hospitality can't be beat.
We are very happy after win the European Championship.
On the top of the world. I mean, this is just such a great feeling to have.
Boom, that was some event. I think it was 167 J70s there, Paul. That's an incredible one design fleet, isn't it? Can you still hear me, Paul? I think we might have lost comms. Let's try that. Hi, Paul. Can you hear me?
Yeah, it's one of the best things about the class. We just got. Yeah, I can hear you very well. Are you hearing me okay?
Can you still hear me now? Can you still hear me now?
I can hear you very well.
Okay, yeah, 167 boats. What an event!
I can hear you. Hi, can you hear me now?
Yeah, I can hear you.
I can hear you.
I can hear you, yeah. Paul, hell of an event. What I wanted to talk about now was some...
Yeah, it was just a superb event. Particularly that last day was just nuclear. Going downwind on that last day was terrific, and it was just incredible to watch how high the standard of sailing was. It was just great to watch how high the standard of sailing was. and no, we had a really good time. We were completely hooked, and we just want to do as much more of that as we can, really.
Yeah, and in a big fleet start like that, it's a completely different dynamic, isn't it? When you've got that many boats on a start line.
Sorry, we seem to have some more technical issues here. I can hear you now.
How's that, Paul? Can you hear me now?
Sorry, I think we've frozen now.
Testing. Can you hear me, Paul?
Yeah, it is. In the competitive championship fleet, by the time you get to the end of the event, the top boats have got a lot of points. So to win Torbay in our worlds, the average score to win. Yeah, I can hear you. Can you hear me? Okay.
Yeah, clear as a bell.
Sorry, we seem to have some technical problems here. I can hear you well, though. Yes, I can hear you. I can hear you.
Yeah, I tell you what.
What's happening with my audio? The video.
Yeah, what we're going to do? We were going to talk a little bit about starts, but I tell you what, we've got some of your crew. We managed to get hold of them.
Can you hear me, Joey?
To have a chat. I can, Paul. I'm just about to play a video, which is your crew who we managed to get together.
I'll keep going then. So in the Torbay, the average score to win that one was about 8. So an 8th place across all the races would have won you the Worlds. And in Marblehead, the scores were even higher. So from a start.
Keep going, Paul.
I can't really know what.
We'll just play a bit of a video here and try and get Paul back on.
Surviving the start, really, and deciding before the start what is the priority of the start, where do you want to go, and where do you want to start. Usually the most important thing is where do you want to be going for the first 5 minutes or so, and that dictates kind of where you're going to start. How to achieve that is the $1 million question, I guess. Charlie and I spoke a lot about, in the sort of from the 5-minute gun to about the 2 or 3 minutes still to go. Charlie be quite vocal on just, the plan is still the same, or, I'm happy to start further down the line or whatever. And Paul and I did our best to execute starting where we wanted to start with a view of, kind of where we wanted to go. I think overall, on average, we probably were a 7 or an 8. For the most part, we were able to survive and go the way we wanted to go and not be dictated to and bullied around too much. We managed to avoid the black flag, which was pretty prolific throughout the week. And for the most part, as I say, we were pretty good. We figured out after the first day that we needed to be a little bit braver in where we started, and not quite so conservative in the middle of the start in the shifty conditions. So I think that worked out pretty well for us once we figured that out.
Done a decent job and get us off the start line, and be able to hold long enough that we could pick off the early shifts. Then you can get into phase pretty early, and that was the key part. Basically, was just keeping in phase, but along with the wind shift, there was wind pressure differences, so you just kind of have to keep that back in mind as well.
It was definitely like lazy plane, GMG, and ripping. and I think we made a good. It was super gusty and shifty, and I think we made a good job in changing modes and being fast in all the modes.
Okay, well, we're back in the room. We've lost Paul Ward on the Skype, but I'm pretty sure we've got him on the cell phone. So I'll tell you what, could somebody tell me whether they can hear me and whether they can hear Paul Ward? Paul, do you want to just tell us what you think about starts in a big fleet, Paul?
Sure, yeah, I can hear you pretty well, Louis. I hope the phone's working better than the Skype did.
Yeah, you're clear. You're very clear. I'm just hoping that they can pick this up on the live. So if anybody could just put a comment to say whether they can hear Paul, that would be handy.
Okay, here we go then. So for the starts, it was interesting to hear Rory remember the first day when we thought we didn't push the starts hard enough. But we have a pretty clear plan. We try and get out there to get enough space on the line and enough speed across the line when the gun goes. The first part of the plan is getting accurate line pings on the pro start box, and then we look to find a gap where our tactician wants to be. That's usually about either a quarter of the way down from the boat or off from the pin, or it's in the middle, or just very occasionally we say to ourselves, right, we've really got to win the pin or we've got to win the boat. And then once we've decided what the plan is, it's all about the execution, and that's about controlling your boat speed and controlling the boats around you as much as you can so that you make a gap. And then in that gap, you're controlled slow sailing, and then you've got to get your trigger pull absolutely right so that you hit the line fast enough and you've got enough speed in those first sort of 30 seconds. Everybody sails high during that time, so having some speed going into it is really important. If you get a few waves coming in, you've got to be able to get through them, and then you just have to be able to live long enough in that lane that, as Charlie was saying, you can get to the first shift, and then get into your race.
That's a very good analysis, Paul. And as I said, we've just covered that video. Got the slot shot up now. This is approaching the top mark and getting to the top mark in good shape, particularly that first one. That's pretty crucial, isn't it, Paul?
Yeah, it is really important. With any luck, you've had to have a decent start, or you've been able to exit from a bad start, and you've started to work your way back up the fleet. At that point, what we're looking to do is to not hit the starboard ley line too early, unless you're right out at the front, because the breeze is really chopped up on that starboard ley line, and lots of people sail too high. We also don't want to be too tight on the port ley line and pushing too hard, breaking the rules as you come into the top mark. So we're fairly conservative coming in. We're looking for a gap. We've got to be able to react very quickly when we see that gap. We've got to put in a good tack, and then we've got some work, and then we've often got some work to do because we've either got a pretty skinny ley line or we've got a gap to close to make sure that nobody sails underneath us. So I'm working really hard with Rory, who's on the trim, to just make sure that we've got the boat positioned right and we're making the best job of getting into that mark we can.
Yeah.
It's all about getting around there in a reasonable position and without making any mistakes.
Yeah. And we've heard this from a few crews, and particularly some of the top ones. I'll say that. And we had Mario alluding to this in that little video. And I'm showing you the mode that you call hot and angry. Just tell us a little bit about that mode, Paul, downwind.
Sure, hot and angry is your fastest downwind planing mode. So that's the picture you've got up. The boat's really ripping. You're going as fast as possible, and what we're aiming for there is a constant heel angle of about 10 degrees. We've got a really good set of instruments on the boat. We run a B&G Triton 2, which I think most of the Americans do, but very, very few of the Brits.
So the kite trimmer, Mario's working really hard. We've got less communications going on because he can feel the kite sheet and I can feel the helm. So we are basically looking to keep the boat as hot as possible, and the trick is to avoid the slow bits. It's easy to go fast in the fast bits. The important thing is to avoid going slowly when the pressure drops a little bit. So as soon as the pressure comes off a little bit, I'm heading the boat up, and we just try to keep it going fast all the time, and then we go down on the gusts, try and take as much depth as we can, but not being too greedy with depth, so that we stay too low for too long, and all speed goes away. So that's the angry bit. You always want to keep it on the edge.
And in this particular shot, you've got DSP all over you like a rash from behind. Doug Carveth and Doug Struth and sorry. I know he had his birthday recently. Sorry, Jeff Carveth, I should say. And holding that lane. I mean, we're talking about holding the lane there, aren't we? To stop getting the dirt and keeping that speed on. Paul, is that a fair one?
Yeah, you absolutely have to avoid getting rolled, but more often than not, the best way to avoid getting rolled is concentrate on your own sailing and go fast. If you have to adjust to defend against another boat, you can do that, but it's quite high risk. The best approach is always to go fast, so that they are just that little bit behind us, and provided we're as fast as them, or if we're quicker, then we will move away.
Okay.
So in the very windy conditions, that's what we focus on. We focus on sailing our own boat fast.
Okay, thanks for that, and also thanks to Alex Irwin at Sportography, who's furloughed at the moment, but he's let us have these pictures. Thank you very much, Alex. Wing on wing, we're looking at the picture now. It's the best picture I've got. I know you've seen this one, and it's not a perfect wing on wing, but just explain what that mode is all about, Paul.
Sure, yeah, it's something that we picked up very much from the American fleet. It's about getting downwind as fast as you can, probably in about 8 to 12 knots. That's a little bit below that, or and goes a little bit above that. So you're basically sailing with the spinnaker on the opposite side to the mainsail. And that means you can get much further downwind. You can sail much closer to where you want to go to get to the leeward mark. But it also means you can do a bunch of other really good things. It's the best BMG in that wind range, in the 8 to 12 knot wind range. It also quite often gives you the opportunity to get onto a better wave angle. So the wave angle is often not going dead downwind, so you can kind of lock into a really good wave angle. And it also gives you some options to clear your wind, to get out of the way the rest of the fleet's going. When we're going downwind, we try and focus on getting ourselves a clear spot on the racetrack so we can do our own thing and make our own boat go fast without having to worry about other boats too much. So it gives you a bunch of tactical flexibility. So we really like that mode. It needs a lot of practice to do it. So we learned this when we were racing in America with the American fleet in Miami, and then the Worlds in Marblehead.
Right.
And you just need to practice it a lot.
Yeah, and in this picture, talking about all the layers that you were saying, that the advantage you can get from wing on wing, not just VMG, you were talking about other areas as well, like wave patterns and everything else. But in this picture, you can see Rory and Charlie heads out the back of the boat, looking, I'm guessing, at the opposition that's around them. You've got Mario forward looking at the breeze, and you concentrating on the heel angle and the boat speed. It's a picture of concentration, Paul. I have to say that.
Yeah, it's both concentration and communication. So Mario's got the kite sheet and is calling left and right all the time. So the steering calls are left and right. Mario's working the kite to give me that information. Occasionally, I'm looking up to check the Windex and just make sure we're going as far downwind as we can. Then the really important bit is Rory's looking around see what the rest of the fleet are doing and to check that our mode, that the fact that we're sailing goose winged or wing on wing is a good mode, and that we're actually executing it well. So
Right.
he's calling our kind of relatives against other boats, and then Charlie's looking around for other lumps of pressure to work out where we want to be going next.
Yeah.
Tactically, there's all of that information's moving them around the boat. There's quite a lot of chat in that mode and in that wind strength.
Yeah, yeah. And then we've got a third mode picture here, which I've called light airs mode. And I know you've seen this picture. The crew is very much spread out either side of the boat, as an equilibrium. That's obviously done on purpose, Paul, yeah?
It's all about weight forward and getting the boat flat, and ensuring then that when you steer, you use the rudder as little as possible.
Mm-hmm.
So when we want to bear away, Mario's calling go down, and his shoulders and my shoulders go out. Charlie's and Rory's shoulders come in, and then when we want to head up a little bit because there's a bit less pressure in the kite sheet, then we do the reverse. Mario and I move in a bit. Charlie and Rory think some heavy thoughts down on the leeward rail, and it just means that you don't steer so much, and the braking effect of the rudder is minimised. The other really important thing in this mode is to avoid the slow bits. So try not to be too greedy with taking depth, and just keep the boat going fast.
Yeah, I tell you what, I'll borrow a tip from Dog Palfrey. We did a coaching seminar with him on the Rorke time over distance, and he made the point that actually calling the lulls can be more useful than calling the puffs, and you sound like you're agreeing with that.
Yeah, absolutely. Dog's a really good coach, and he's very experienced. We've started to do some work with him in Miami, which we really enjoyed. And yeah, that's absolutely right, because as soon as you feel like you're slow, it means that you are already slow. And so not only have you already slowed down, you're going to spend some time speeding up again, and by the time all that lot's happened, you've probably thrown 2 to 4 boat lengths away. So it's really important to not have that happen.
Mm-hmm.
And that's really hard, and that's where Mario in particular is very, very, very good at kind of keeping us on our game there. And Rory's also calling the relative speed. So if it looks like we're getting a bit slow, then we can start to make some adjustments before we lose too much.
Right. Okay. And then we're going to just wind it back a little bit here. That was some really good tips on the moding and starts, etc. But I want to talk about going into the 2018 season. So that's the season before the World Championships that were held in the UK. You had a long run up to that World Championship in the UK in terms of planning and preparation. What did you set out to do in 2018, Paul?
Well, the plan for that year was really to get a proper J70 program up and running. So I was lucky enough to be able to sail with some really great people, and we just learned a lot of stuff. I think that one of the first things that we worked out was that both the American fleet and the Italian fleet have some really great sailors. There are some great sailors in the Spanish fleet as well, by the way.
Mm-hmm.
So that we just went and spent some time with them. So sailing in Miami at the start of the year is never a hardship. The weather's great, the sailing's brilliant in Biscayne Bay, and there's a really, really hot American fleet. We coming out of Porto-Cervo, we thought there were probably about 15 or so fast American boats. I think by the time we'd been out to Miami, we realised there were about 40 really fast American boats, and they're very, very generous at sharing their thoughts about how to make the boat go well. We use north sails,
yeah,
and so we're pretty well plugged into the North teams. So Tim Healy, Alan
mm-hmm.
Cahoon, obviously working with Rory and all of those guys have been really, really helpful. So that was those are the things we were thinking about going into 2018, and we sort of kept changing things through the season. We felt that we should go to the Marblehead Worlds because we were not going to get any better to go into the Torbay Worlds, which was the real objective, by not going to the Marblehead Worlds. So we went there. We probably got a worse position in Marblehead than we got in Porticero, but we learned a ton. We had a really great team. Rob Greenhow came and sailed with us then. He's a terrific sailor. Pete Mitchell and Ollie Wells, and we had a really good time and learned a lot.
Okay, wonderful. Well, we've got a little cheeky video now, Paul, and this is something that we put together a couple of days ago. And excuse if there is an echo on this at home, because we've gone to this setup. You might hear a bit of an echo on the video, but this was put together. Now, in this video, Mario, it's about 6 a.m. in the morning in Brazil. He's in Rio, and we've got Charlie and Rory over in Warsash, and well, let's just play the video. I think you know what it's about. One word, Paul Ward.
That's two words.
He's determined. And he puts something on his head, he's got to just go for it all the way.
Okay. Rory, Paul Ward, one word.
Enthusiastic.
Why enthusiastic?
That's my word.
Bad luck, Charlie. He just absolutely loves going sailing on a J70. In fact, he just loves everything about J70 racing.
Okay. Determined, enthusiastic. Charlie, the icing on the cake. Paul Ward, one word. No pressure.
Thirsty.
Dark horse.
We'll let you have dark horse. Okay,
You're right in one word.
Yeah, that's fine. Why dark horse?
I think he, you could very easily get the opinion that he's, former banker, etc., but actually he enjoys to let his hair down every now and again.
So a bit of fun there, Paul, but you know, in the big picture of things, it is important that you have a good team spirit, isn't it?
Well, the best thing about the 2019 Worlds and the best thing about sailing the J70 is to have been able to sail with such a great team. You know, those are the guys that make the boat go. And as you can perhaps pick up from those videos, I think we all have a really good time doing it. And we work really hard at it. We are very competitive. That's something that we all share. But we all really enjoy our sailing. And the thing we're really looking forward to is doing some more sailing together. So that same team is going to be sailing in this new season as soon as they let us all out.
Okay, yeah, let's hope it's soon. Hey, 2019 in the UK was a massive year for the J70s. It was the first time that the J70 World Championship has been held in the UK. And I know that, through the Grand Slam tournament the year before, the 2018, there was a lot of people fired up in the UK to push to get into the Worlds. But just say at the start of that 2019 season, Paul, what were your aims at the start of 2019?
Well, I thought we'd learned a bit in 2018, but we hadn't made as much progress as we sort of hoped to. And so, being the competitive souls that we are, we thought we needed to raise our game a bit. We were incredibly lucky with two things about the team. The first was that we went sailing at the start of 2019 in Miami with Rory, and Rory was then able to join the team permanently, which just really changed, for this 2019 full season and going forward. That raised our game a lot. Rory's incredibly competitive. and knows everything about J70s, and is always ready and willing to share his thoughts at any point. And you are never in any doubt about what Rory thinks we should be doing, which is fantastic. And so Rory's just raised the game completely. And then Mario in the front of the boat, he was top 10 with a Brazilian team in the Worlds. I think they were 8th in Porto in 2017. Mario's a terrific sailor and is a superb trimmer. And he also looks after the boat. So all the work on the boat is just the very best. Mario spends hours on that stuff, and it all just works really well. There's probably a story about the kite sheets we should come on to later. Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, what were you were going to 2019 Worlds. You qualified through the Grand Slam series, which you didn't win. I think you were about 5th for that. But the long and the short of it is, you're taking on the cream of the USA, the Italians, the Spanish, and also the Brits. Some really good British teams. I mean, what was your realistic goal at the start of 2019, Paul?
Well, the things that were important to us, I've spent a little bit of time working with other professional sports, particularly with professional rugby here in the UK, and the way they think about managing teams is it's all about practice and process, and the results follow from there. So we tried not to think about results too much. We just worked out the things that we wanted to do. So we set up 65 days together on the water. So by the time we got to the start line in Torbay, we had raced or practiced for 65 days together, which is a lot. And I'm very, very grateful to the guys for spending the time on that. And we also worked out some very clear priorities, the things we needed to work on, which for us were starting, pretty obvious. We wanted to do more work on our upwind speed, particularly in chop. We've generally been pretty quick downwind, but we wanted to do some more work on the goose wing stuff and the transitions into and out of goose winging. And we wanted to get a bit faster downwind of the light stuff. And so we just worked out how we were going to do that. We had 2 or 3 days practice before the big events, particularly earlier in the season. We had to change the team around a bit. We had Ben Saxton, who's a fantastic British Olympic sailor, sailing with us for the Europeans in Malchesney. So Ben contributed a lot. We spent a lot of time just working on sailing the boat slowly, and we would do things like 5 starts over 10 minutes to work on slow boat sailing, trigger pulls, all that kind of stuff. And just really worked on the areas that we thought were important. I think there's still more to come. We've got a lot more work to do on some of those things. So we're not perfect yet.
Yeah, and in the weeks leading up to the J70 Worlds at the Royal Torbay Yacht Club, what did you what were you doing then? What was your process then, Paul?
We had three weeks in total in Torbay, so we were there for about a week before the British Nationals, which worked really well for us. So we got to know the venue, we settled into the accommodation, we just enjoyed everything about kind of being there. We did some work on the boat setup and boat speed and some sail choices, and then we went into the UK Nationals. For the UK Nationals, the wind pretty much switched off, so it was sort of 5 to 8 knots throughout. Those are not the sort of conditions where I naturally have felt we've been fast and where I naturally enjoy sailing.
Right.
But we kind of surprised ourselves a little bit. We were actually quite quick, and so that went well. After the Nationals, we stopped for a bit of a rest. Charlie knows the local area pretty well, so we finished up in some great restaurants and some great places, and we just enjoyed being down there. Then we got back to the boat a couple of days before, made sure everything was working, made our final sail choices, particularly with the jib, and we just enjoyed the start of the Worlds. I think when you're lucky enough to have a World Championship in your own class, in your own country, you've really got to enjoy every minute of that. We had a great time.
Yeah.
Enjoyed every piece of it.
Well, Paul, let's have a look at the wrap-up video from the Darwin Estates 2019 J70 Worlds, and thanks again to Sportography and the Royal Torbay Yacht Club for this. Let's play the wrap-up video from Torbay.
This week's racing has been really tough. The competition is the highest standard that there could possibly be. 20 nations represented from virtually every single continent. It truly is a world championship to remember by everybody. This is the fun of racing, and it is really, very, very tight at the top.
So far this week it's been a bit of a fight. The toughest racing around at the moment.
This is a difficult venue, one of the toughest venues I've ever sailed in my life. We actually just have to push it and do the best that we can. We really can't worry about anybody else that's out there.
The goal for today is, of course, to make the podium, but we'll see if we can do it.
It's not a one-way championship, so it's giving the whole fleet a lot to think about. We'll be very focused the last two races and give everything we've got.
Just going to do whatever we got to do to improve our position.
It is a true competition. It's too close to call. One mistake, they'll be spat out of the back.
Hoping to roll out and the last two going out blazing.
Very pleased. It's been pretty hard work. We have a superb team. We sailed well all year. This was a very tough week. It was great, really good fun. The American team and the Spanish team pushed us really hard the whole way to the end. 3 or 4 meters away from the finishing line, we thought we probably won it.
It's been really difficult sailing, really shifty, really challenging.
Well, we've been trying to do this for 6 years now.
It's been a while.
Yeah, since we started in La Rochelle. So yeah, it feels amazing.
One of the really good things about Torbay, there are plenty of tough moments, plenty of opportunities to go up in the fleet, and plenty of opportunities to go down as well. Just went our way.
Well, I'm sure you're going to be looking forward to seeing that one again, Paul. You probably can't in your car at the moment, but for Paul and anybody else as well, there will be a replay of this show, which will go out on Facebook. So you'll be able to catch up later, Paul. But it all came right in the end, and it was a massive win, and to come from 2017. Out of the chocolates, 2018 out of the chocolates, to actually peak right at the right moment. That's what it seemed to me. Is that a fair description of what happened?
Yes, it is. I think. I mean, we put a lot of work in. We put a lot of work in to get there, and we just got to have a better team. We have 3 fantastic sailors in the front of the boat, and they get us around the course. And as the team got better, the results got better. And it's a team that works really well together. I'm very lucky to sail with these guys.
Yeah, absolutely. And also congratulations to Soak Racing as well, to Ian Wilson and Marshall King, the joint owners of that boat. Fantastic to see a British team winning the Corinthian World Championship as well. Maybe we ought to have Ian and Marshall on the show. What do you reckon, Paul?
Oh, definitely, yeah. It was great because everything worked really well at that event. The host yacht club, the Royal Torbay Yacht Club, led by the event director Bob
Penfold. Yeah.
That club was the RYA Club of the Year in 2019, and they really did a fantastic job. There were 100 plus members of that club volunteering to help out, and I think they gave everyone a great welcome, and they put on a fantastic event for us. Yeah,
I've got to say a massive round of applause to Bob Penfold and his team. But they did an amazing job down in Torbay at the Royal Torbay Yacht Club. Well, we've got a question for you, Paul, and this one's coming from some bloke called Charlie Cumbly. So we'll just play that video. I might have to tell you what the question is, but we'll just play the video. Here's a question from Charlie Cumbly to Paul Ward.
All right. What day of the regatta did Paul think we were going to win the world? Or have a realistic chance?
Did you get that, Paul?
Yes, I did. What day of the regatta did I think we might have a shot at winning it? I think we were all kind of thinking that we were going quite fast from the time of the Nationals the week before, and I think what we were all trying to do was to not say to each other that we had a chance of winning the world. So we sort of stuck with our stated objective of being in the top 10. But to answer the question honestly, I thought going into the penultimate day, the last but one day, I thought we had a pretty good shot at it. And based on the weather forecast, that there was a bit more breeze the last 2 days, I thought that might suit us. And so I was kind of desperately trying to hold it all together, really.
Yeah, I remember. I was working on the media team at the Darwin Estates J Worlds, and I have to say we had no idea who was going to win going into that last race. It was, we had the slide rules out, and it was that close, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was. I mean, inevitably, as you go into the last day, you sort of add on this extra dimension of trying to do some mental maths when you're out there to see how the positions are going. We were not clear enough, and we had a worse discard than our friends Spanish friends in Noticia.
Yeah.
And Alberto Rossi, who won the European Championships a couple of years ago in Vigo, and his team. So we were pretty close to them. Neither of them had a good race in the first race on the last day, but Joel Ronning with Victor and his team on Catapult are always really fast. They're a past world champion. So going into the last race, it was they were the nearest opposition, but there was never a single boat that we had to worry about. But I think going on to the second beat in the last race, we were saying to ourselves that Joel and the Catapult guys were going really well. They were right up there. So we said, right, we had to assume that they're going to win the race, which meant that we needed to be the top 6. So we really pushed hard on the last run, and we got there. But the last run got quite interesting. There's kind of a good story from there. We were planing flat out, hot and angry down the last run. Mario's working the sheet really hard, and he sort of turned around to the rest of us in the boat and said, guys, we have a problem. Because the kite sheet had stripped its cover. So Mario was just holding on to a little thin bit in the middle, and it was obviously going to be very hard to drive because the kite sheet would bunch up and it wouldn't run through the blocks.
I mean, when the stress level gets like that, that's quite hard to cope with, isn't it? That things can go wrong when you get stressed out.
Rory's always great in a crisis, So he basically said to Mario, "No, mate, you've got a problem. You've got to fix it."
Well, that leads us very nicely onto another question from Rory Scott. So I'm just going to play that for the people at home. Hopefully you can hear this. If you can't, I can tell you what he says.
What did Charlie have in his hands when we crossed the finish line in the last race?
Oh, did you get that, Paul?
Yes, yeah, I got that. There are some fantastic photos, some close-ups of Charlie and of the rest of us as we cross the line. Charlie has a knife in his hand because Charlie was. So Charlie's version of problem solving was to get the knife out, and we basically cut the spinnaker sheet so that we could jive.
Oh wow!
So as we sort of problem solved, going down the run at about sort of 18 knots with four of us on the side, we were sort of problem solving together with some interesting words, and we came up with the solution that we're going to have to cut the kite sheet. So we said, Charlie, right, there's no pressure at all here, mate. You've just got one call about one and in. This is your biggest. This is one and in for the world. And if you cock it up, we're sort of slow mode right to the finish, and we can watch it drift away. Charlie, of course, nailed it completely. And that was why he crossed the line with a knife in his hand, screaming his head off.
Well, let's see if Charlie agrees with you. Hold on.
All right, I'm going to give you the answer.
I should explain to the viewers at home that was a knife for chopping up the vegetables on Sunday for the Sunday roast for his family. But that is the real definition of one and in, isn't it? I mean, you were definitely one and in.
Absolutely, we have one and in written on the back of our team sweatshirts. It normally refers to something else. It normally refers to liquid refreshment.
Oh.
It was extremely important, and we did it when it mattered. But again, it shows how fine the margins are with these things. If we'd have had to jive again, we'd have been in terrible trouble.
Right. Well, look, Paul. I'm going to have to say that's about all we got time for. But we're going to play a little video out. So hang on for that at home. But it's time to say, Paul Ward, thank you so much for sharing so much of the in-depth stuff that goes into winning a world championship like the J70 Worlds. But thanks so much for joining us, Paul. Would you like to say something to everyone at home about maybe the season coming up?
Yeah, I mean, I hope everyone at home is safe and well. We're really looking forward to racing with all our J70 friends again when we're allowed to go sailing. But I think most importantly, thanks to Charlie, to Rory, to Mario, and to Ben for a fantastic year last year. And we started 2020 out in Miami having a really good time as well. So let's hope we get sailing again and see you guys soon.
Wonderful. Yeah, thanks very much for joining us, Paul. And if anybody out there wants to find out more about the J70 UK and Ireland class, there's a website which is very up to date, and that website is www.j-70.co.uk. Now, here's a special video which you won't have seen before, and a big thank you to Paul Ward's mate Fatboy Slim for this one. Thanks very much for joining us.
Eat, sleep,
J, repeat.
Sleep, rave, repeat. Sleep, rave, repeat. Sleep, rave, repeat. Sleep, rave, repeat.
Yes, it'd be a really good thing if we can have a Brit win, but you know, there's some really good sailors here. We've got a very long way to go, and we'll just see how it all rolls tomorrow.
We went through hell.
So there was this DJ who was like kicking off.
Well, here we are in Torquay for the Darwin Estates J70 World Championships 2019, hosted by the Royal Torbay Yacht Club.
All
he kept saying was eat, sleep, rave, repeat, 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 eat, sleep, rave, repeat.
Difficult venue, probably one of the toughest venues I've ever sailed in my life, and not all the shifts have gone our way. We've had some moments of brilliance, but for the most part we've been not as good as we'd hoped. But today's another day, and we'll just keep plugging away. And it's a very cool place. The Torquay has been a lovely place to come sail, and very nice venue.
I'm just dancing. I'm just dancing.
Competition is at the highest standard that there could possibly be, and with 20 nations represented from virtually every single continent I can imagine, it truly is a world championship to remember by everybody.
I'm just sleeping. I'm just raving. I'm just repeating. And on, and on, and on, and on.
It's been a bit of a fight, as I think everyone. It's tough racing, probably the toughest racing around at the moment. Fantastic racing.
Rave, repeat, eat, sleep, 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 rave, repeat. Suddenly I think I'm on the phone. Suddenly I think I'm telling a story, but I'm not. I'm just dancing. I'm just dancing.
Today we have a beautiful day, but with a English cloud within the first race because we have a BFD, and the last race we won, and we are so happy for this.
I'm just sleeping. I'm just raving. I'm just repeating. And on, and on, and on, and on. Eat, sleep, rave, repeat. 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 Eat, sleep, rave, repeat.
Very, very pleased. It's been pretty hard work. We have a superb team. We've sailed well all year. This was a very, very tough week. It was great. Really good fun though.
Achievement, a British winner in both classes for the first time in the UK. But that typical British name, Mario Trindade, is one of the crew members. He must be from Cornwall. Rory Scott. We've worked that one out. And a local lad, Charlie Cumley. And the owner, helm, skipper, and manager of the team, Paul Ward. So the J17 World Champions 2019 Eat, Sleep, J Repeat.
Eat, sleep, rave, repeat.
That is eat, sleep, rave, repeat to the death.